So during the last class we'll see what is a class and how to declare a class. To declare a class, we start with the keyword class, followed by the name of the class, and we have the open and closing parentheses. And inside this we declare the properties and methods of the class. And to initiate a class, we use the new keyword followed by the name of the class, and we use it. Now, when we talk about the class, let me show it in a demo. So here you have a class called as A, and there is a function within the class. And to instantiate this A, we create a variable and we use the new followed by the name of the class. That will instantiate the object of this class, and in order to invoke the method, we use the pointer operator that you are familiar with the C programming language. Even though this is not considered to be a pointer operator, but the symbol that you are using is identical to that. So this is again the selector, that is a member selector operator that we are familiar with the Java. In Java we use the dot. However, when it comes to the PHP, the dot is already taken up for the concatenation, so they are using the other symbol. So this is the name of the class, the name of the function or the method that you are declaring, and then you invoke the new class or the instantiate a new class and create an object out of it, and then you call the method within the object. Okay. In this example, you will notice that the type need not be same. For example, here you are directly creating a new person. Instead of that, the person can be stored in the variable, and then you can say of new type. So this is also possible. You just store the class name in a variable, and then you create a instance of that variable. Then we have seen a very different type of function. These are called as magic function, and again you can expect a question. Explain any magic function. One of the magic functions is the construct that is used to create an instance of a given object. It is used to create an object out of this class. This is a special method that you can think of using. Let's look at it in action. So I'm going to go here and I'm create a new project here. Name of the project is of least significance to us. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to say that I want it to be shown as a local script. So I want to run it like a local script. When I try to do it, it's going to ask me for a interpreter of PHP, and the interpreter is directly available in the branch. I can go here and I can browse, and within the C drive under exam, so I went to the exam. If it was not visible, I went to the exam folder, and within the exam you have this PHP that is in the C drive. You have this PHP, and there is a file called as php.exe. That's the interpreter for the PHP. Just select it, click OK, and that's all you need to do. What's the advantage of using the interpreter is you don't have to run this application on a web. You can get the output directly within the PHP. So that's the good part. Suppose if you are testing something and if you really want to get the output, this is the best way of trying to test your code. So what you notice over here is it has not added any HTML part here, because I told it that I want to run it within my machine. So let me create a class. So in order to create a class, you have the class followed by the name of the class. Let's say I'm going to create a class called as vehicle, and let me say I have few things. Now you are already familiar, you need to declare the scope of the variable in order to use it. If you just declare a variable called as say color of the vehicle, you will get a error by the PHP saying that you need the unexpected variable, or you need to specify something. If you notice over here, it says either use a function const var static abstract something that will give me a hint that it is of some type. So you can use the three words public, private, or the protected. They have the same meaning. If you say it is private, that means it can be only used within this class. It's not available to the other classes. Public means it is available everywhere. You can use it everywhere you want to use it. Protected means it can be available within this class as well as all the derived variables. So let me create a public color, private, say speed, and say protected name. Now I have only the variables here. In order to create an instance of it, I just create a car equal to new vehicle, then use it. Now if I use this car and if I use not the dot operator, the greater than operator, what is available to me by default is the color, which is the publicly available method. So because color is declared as a public, it will be available and I can set some value to this. Now you can set anything because variable type is directly declared. That's the reason it is better you create a type of that variable. Otherwise you can specify red as a color, you can type a number there, it's going to accept anything. Because you know very well in PHP we don't have the data type. Data types are assigned at runtime, so you must be careful when you are trying to use it. So this, when we think of using it, the private and protected are not available. In that case, how do I make it available? The way in which you are doing it in the Java is you use the getter and setters. So you can use the get and set method. However, when you use the get and set in the PHP, they are not the same as that of other programming language. You have only one getter and setter, and they are done using a magic method. So let's look at that. Let me first create a function, a ordinary function. I don't have to tell this one as public. If I don't specify, it's assumed to be public. But if you really want to, as a good practice, you can just say function, name of the function, and let's say set color. This is the function. I'm going to set the color, let's say new color as the variable. Now if I want to set that thing, again I cannot think of doing this. Color equal to dollar new color will not work. The reason why it is not going to work, I have already told you, what is outside a function is not directly available. It's out of the namespace. So that color is not available here. If you are to say that that is the color that I am referring to, then use this pointer followed by X and do not specify the dollar sign. So you do this one, I need this is a variable, special type of variable. So you notice that this no dollar sign here, and now if you look at if you highlight it, you will notice that the NetBeans will tell you the scope of it. So you notice that I selected one of them, and it says that this is available here, and available here. So it gives you a fact saying that that's the scope. These are the same variable. All this refers to the same element. Now, if I try to pull it out of here, and if I create a variable, I put it here, you'll notice that it's going to highlight it, but it is not highlighting this and this. as an indication saying that both of them are not the same. This is a different color than the color that which was here. Suppose if I click on this one, you'll notice that it is highlighting that public and this one, saying that these two are same, but it is not highlighting the color which was there inside the method because it is not in that scope. So this color and the other two colors are different. So if at all you want it, use this followed by the selector operator. So you can set that. Okay. Now I am not really interested in setting a color because color I can do it directly by this. Now if I want to set something else, suppose if I say my function and say accelerate, and you specify some value. Let me assume that after calculation for that particular acceleration, I'll get a speed. So how do I do that? So this followed by this, and you notice that when I use this, you will notice that all the three are available to me, and that is the color, make, and speed. So the private variables will be available to me. Let's assume that that the acceleration will directly give you the speed. So I'm able to set the value. So this is how you are doing it directly using the method. Now if you have a variable called as car, and then if I use this symbol, and if I want to say set color, I can get it. If I want to say accelerate, that's available. If I set a value here, it will be set to the other one. So this is how you can do it using the method. Now, how do I go for the getters and setters? If you want to use the getters and setter, there is a built-in function. This is public by default. You don't have to tell that thing. A public function, and then use the double underscore, and you get set. Set name and value. Remember, you have to set the name of the variable that you want to set and the value that you want to set here. So I want to set the value, so I'm going to say this, but I'm not going to say color, or I'm not going to say speed, or I'm not going to say make and other thing. What I'm going to say is this, and I'm going to say the name will be provided as one of the arguments to this function. So the name will come. So whatever the name that you are getting, for that name, the value will also be provided. So use that name and value. So what's the meaning of it? If the name that is supplied with this variable is color, then set the value for the color. If the name that is supplied at runtime to this method is speed, then use it as a speed. If it is make, use it as make. That means the name of the variable or the member will be provided at runtime and use it. So let's see how I can use it. Now suppose if I want to set the make of it, so I go to this card and I'm going to say underscore underscore, and I'm going to say set it is not available. That's a magic method, that's why it is called as a magic method. That method will be magically called, it is not directly available. So if I want to do that thing, I have to say that you have a variable here, and the name of that variable is this make. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say I want to set make equal to say so what is this I'm doing? Now this make is the name that is supplied to this. Now if you look at this, let me highlight that. So this make is automatically, this make will be supplied to the set, and the marquee will be supplied to the value. So what it is going to do is it's going to set these two values. Let me just put a echo here just to say what it is getting. So I'm not going to set something. I'm going to say name, value. I'm not really interested in these two things here because that's going to clutter my output. So I will just remark them out, and I'm going to run it like Shift F6. Now I'll notice that the same thing with this one is when you try to run it, the output is provided there itself. So like how you get it for the other. It's going to compile it. You notice that there is this one that's going to say it's trying to interpret what you have written, and then because my using fast, it will take a lot of time. Otherwise, instantly you'll get the answer. So I have tried to print the value name and value here. That's what I'm trying to print here. So when I call this make, it's actually going here and setting the value. So in this case, the make was the value that was applied to this one, and the value is the Maruti. So it is indirectly called. That method is, you cannot invoke that method directly. That's why it's called as magical. It is magically called. So what will happen if I try to set like this? Will it call the method? So I'm trying to set car color equal to red. So what's the meaning of it? The assumption is color is going to go here to color is going to go to this name, and red is going to go for this value. Let me run that thing. Let me see what is it's going to say. You notice that it didn't came here. You notice that this is showing make equal to this one, this part, make and Maruti, but it never showed color is red. Why it is not going there? Remember, when you try to set it, if you have noticed the first thing when I started doing it here, if I go over here and if I say, okay, this is the car is an object, and when I try to open it, it's actually showing me that color is available to you. Why color is available to you is because color is declared as a public. So it's publicly available. If it is publicly available, it is easily accessible, then it says, why do I have to go to the pain of calling this one and then assigning it? Anyhow, it's directly available. So let me directly go over there and then try to get rid of this. Okay. Let's go to the other one and let me try to do this. So this accelerate, let me go to the other method, and that is I think speed. I'll try to set it for the speed equal to 10. Now I notice over here that the speed is, speed was, I think I went for the protected, this what is left is the private. So private, it's going to do it, private is not available, protected is not available. Let me go for both of them and let's say how this is going to work. Now if you notice over here, you will notice that it's going to call 2 times. I'm not given the space there. The first one is speed is 10. So speed is 10 is coming because of this line. Echo speed is, this is speed, this is 10. That's what it is trying to show first. There is no line space and other things, so it will come one after the other. Next time it's going to say make and Maruti, and it is trying to print make and Maruti. So for the protected and private, it will, because it is not directly visible. If you notice over here, when I say car and when I try to use this operator, the color is only available, the protected is not available, the private is not available. So if you want to assign the values for protected and private, then use that magic method. If you want to use it for public method, there is no need to have this magic method. Now, what if you don't assign this, or what if you don't declare this magic method? So I'm going to cut this thing, and now that magic method is not there. I'm trying to assign the value for the speed as well as make. If you recall again, the speed and the make, speed is private and make is protected. Both of them are readily not available outside this class. If I try to run this one, you see a strange behavior. And the behavior that you're going to see is a very obvious one. It just says that you try to assign a value to a private property which is not available outside the class, so I will not be able to do anything, and this is a fatal error and I will not be able to proceed with the next line. So it just comes here and it says speed was a private, and you try to access a private variable outside the class which is for which it doesn't matter. So I can't do this one. After that, it just stops executing. So that's the use of this thing. Let me go over here and let me paste it back. And if you are able to set it, how do you get it back? In order to get it back, you use the public again function. There is no need to write that public because by default the visibility is public. And I'm going to say in the way how you set it, get, and this one get has to return something, and I'm going to say return the name that is supplied to it. So if the name is speed, get the value of this speed. If the name is make, get the value of make. So this syntax is extremely different from the other programming language, wherein we have the getters and setter. When we try to use it, we try to use the same word. So will I be able to get the value? I'm going to, in order to reduce the confusion, in this set, I'm not going to echo anything out, but here I'm going to start echoing this value. So I'm going to say now, car, show me the make of your make, and you notice the NetBeans will not help you in that. When I try to type, if you just notice over here, if I say echo and if I say car, and if I put this one, if I start typing color, NetBeans says that okay, I know color is available. But if I try to say okay, show me the speed, and the NetBeans says I have no clue about that speed because this is a magic method. It is not shown. It comes into picture only when it is really required. Otherwise, it is not directly visible. So, in order to get it in 2 lines, I'm going to say /n here as a new line because I'm not running on a web here. It's going to produce a line break this time. So, when I try to run it, you notice that I get the make and the main. I'm trying to return. It's a small problem there. How did it try to show? Make it so. I'm trying to return. So they have shown me the value that I'm trying to assign. Let me go over here. Let me see, am I assigning the value? Let me go over here. Let me say, let me put that toString method, one other method. It is not possible, like other programming language, it's not possible for me to do the debugging, even though NetBeans supports debugging to a certain extent, but not to that extent. So I can say toString. Now, toString is a method. You have used the toString method in Java and other things. Not again very sure. toString is available with that object, Java lang.object, and it is automatically available. Whereas here that is not directly available. This is again a magic method. Let me first build the car, and I'm going to say str. I'll try to get all of them. This dot color. Then I'm going to build this one. This dot. I separate individual one with this one if you are getting confused. This is what I want to do. I'm concatenating it. This dot make, and last I'm just concatenating it to get it as a single screen, I would have done it one after the other. The reason is we'll go beyond the screen. The last one I think I had was this screen. I just want to return this value just to see what it is trying to. So, trying to return that string. I build the string from here, from a separated string, and I'm going to just print that value. After I set it, I'm going to say echo. You notice over here, I am not saying echo $car to string or anything. I just say echo this car. So what is the meaning of saying echo this car? When you say echo, look at here. The car is actually an object of type vehicle. So I'm just saying the object itself. Okay, echo yourself. When you call this one, it just calls automatically. It calls this toString method. So it just calls that toString method, and you'll be able to get the value out. That's a use of toString method. And in Java or in C# or any other programming language, the toString method is automatically there because it is there in the object, a lined out object of both of them. So it is automatically inherited. Whether you like it or not, it just gets inherited. And if only in a special case, you actually override it. Whereas in PHP, it is not that thing. There is nothing called as automatic and other things. When you try to do it, if you want the representation. What is the meaning of this is, if suppose somebody asks a question, what is that car? They are not asking what's the color of the car, what's the speed of the car, what's the make of the car. If somebody asks a question, what is the car? What car do you have? What's the answer that you are going to give? This is the default answer. So suppose somebody says, which car do you have it, or what's your car? In that case, you just show this. Let me run this one. The reason I'm doing it is I want to know whether it actually set the value. So you notice over here, the one that you are getting here is red Maruti. I think I'll this was it, red Maruti. I'm going to silence these things out in order to reduce the confusion. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to run it again. Now you notice that this is what it is trying to say. It is saying red Maruti and 10. What is this red Maruti and 10? This is what it is trying to show. The color was set as red, the make was set as Maruti, and the speed is 10. So this is what it's trying to show. And you notice there I am not calling red dot or red greater than or whatever it is. Red select the color, the speed and others. So that's the use of it. Now what would have happened if I have not declared this particular method? I'll cut this one. That method toString method is not there. Let me run it and let me run it without this method. In that case, what it's going to say? So it just says that object, class, vehicle, and so on and so forth. And what it just says is it's an object. Okay? And it just says the echo method here says I don't know how to echo an object. I know how to echo a string. I know how to echo a number. I know how to echo a boolean. I know the other things. But if you give me an object, I really don't know how to show the content. Now what happens when I bring this one back? When I put this thing here, what is that I'm trying to do? So when you run this one, echo car, what it is trying to do is it goes to the car, echo statement goes to the car and just asks, a car, I want your values. Now the last time I didn't have this toString, then the car just said I'm an object, that's it. So when it says I'm an object, the echo gets confused and it ends up in a fatal exception. Whereas now if you say, if the echo goes to car and if it asks the car, okay, tell me what is it, who you are. In that case, the car automatically calls the toString method and it returns that string back. So it returns the string back. That string is getting printed by the echo statement. So that is how it goes. Now let me come back to the place where I have this one made. So I'm trying to ask it a question. Show me make, and if this says, okay, in that case, I'm going to do this one. This is going to be a laborious thing, and I think I can use a if. Let me use that if. I've not demonstrated this one. So can I use equal operator to compare two strings? So I want to know if the name is speed. I want to return. I'll do it in this way. Return the value of, not this way, this dot. I'm not going any further after this. So if you just look at this one, the first thing is I have this name which is a variable, and I'm trying to compare it to a string. Can I use equal operator to compare two strings? Is it allowed? So let's go ahead and let's try to run and see that thing. Provided I'm trying to call the speed first. Okay. So I'll change this one and make it as speed, because I want this string to be matched here. So I want this one to be speed, not something else. So I'm just using that speed here. Let me go over here and let me run it first. You notice that there is a 10 extra that is getting printed. If again it is getting confused, I'm going to get rid of this one. Let me get 6, and it's going to print the 10. So first thing is, it is possible for you to compare the variable using that is a string using this. So the next question is this case sensitive comparison? So let me make it as capital speed. You notice here what I'm trying to send to this name is a small case speed, and I'm trying to compare it with one letter. This I made it as capital. If you don't like it, I'm going to make this one as capital so that you'll be able to see that one of the letter is different. So will it make this comparison? Let me run it now. Let me show you the output, and you notice that it has not printed anything, and it says it is done. What's the reason? This match did not. This match returned a false, and it was not able to match that thing. So let me go over here and let me completely, and I hope you get that thing. And you have this else if. Look at this else if that you have here. I'm going to just say, start copying this one in order to. It's a bit difficult to watch me typing, so I'll just go here, and I think it was the make. And I'm going to say return the value of this dot. I think last time the reason why it failed, just tell you that part first. I came to this one. It was made. The reason why it didn't give is I'll tell you what is the thing. This is not really required. So let me go over here and let me show this one. So this is the make. You can go on doing it. Now I'm going to just run it. The reason I'm running it is not to show you the values. I'm not really interested in showing you the value, but I want to show this part here. I'm not very sure whether you have observed it or not. That's a single word there. It's not else space if. It's a single word that is being used, and it's not a syntax error. This is what usually used to type else space if. This is a single word else. Now the reason why I failed at one shot is I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to say return. I started returning something without using this operator. That's why I just failed. So I'm saying this dot name. Last time I just tried to return the name itself, Now if I try to use that name, I know very well, let me first run and show you what is the difference. So do you have to do all these things? The answer is not really. Let me run this one. And you see it is printing this 10 like the previous case. Now when I typed it for the first time, what I did was I made a mistake and I said return name. Now if the name is make here, or if the name is speed here, or if the name is anything for that matter, you know very well this variable is inside a function and it will not be able to access the value which is outside the function, and that's the reason the PHP quietly gave me the same value back and it said I will not be able to get something out of the function. So now what I'm doing here is I'm saying this go out of this function, and I'm not using this dot name. The reason why I can't use this dot name is there is nothing that is starting with the name. I have not declared a public or private or for that matter anything called as name. If I do this one, this statement is a valid statement. So I'm trying to refer something which is available here. Now I don't want to do this one. Instead of that, what I'm saying is this dot dollar name. What's the meaning of it? Whatever value that is given here, take that value, concatenate it with this and go out and find which one is matching. So if the value that is supplied to this name is a make, then you go this greater than make. If the value that is supplied to it is a speed, then take the value, add it to this, go out of this function, get its value and show it. So now if I try to open these two things up, and if I do this one, and if I run this one, even I think I typed the speed 2 times, you will see 10 getting shown 2 times. I'll just make it as make here, and F6, and you can this time if I did something wrong, I think instead of that I used Alt F6. So if you are confusing between, you get these 2 values there. Now the question is, I leave it to you. If I do this one, and maybe I can ask that question during the examination. Now, if I say color, will the getter called if I try to do this? So, will the getter method called if I do color? Will it go to the get method? Again, let me remind you, the color was declared as public. So, if I use get me the value of the color, here I am saying set the value red, here I am saying get me the color. So, will it call the getter method if it is a public variable? I'll leave it to you to figure out whether it really does something. So, we have this one. Now, in the other programming language, you can also declare something called as a constant. So, just to recall, what are the different types of methods are there? So, we have, if the question is asked, explain 5 magic method. The one magic method that you are already aware of, it is public function. This is an obvious method, construct. This is used to construct the object. So I'm going to say constructor is called, I'm going to use slash here. So this is when you initialize this or when you create the object. In the same way, you have public function start double, and this is to destroy this object, and I'm going to say echo. I'm not doing anything, you can do a housekeeping work there. So I'm going to say the structure is called. So this is called when the function is created, and the next one is called when the function is destroyed. I mean, when the object is destroyed. Let me not print anything. So I'm going to remark everything except that the first line. That is, I'm just creating a new instance of vehicle. In that case, what is going to happen? So you will notice that when I call this one, a new instance has to be created. That means it's going to call the construct, and so it says a constructor was called, but the program ends immediately when the program goes out of scope. Naturally, that object has to be destroyed, and it says when the program terminates, it says that object got destroyed, and the destructor is called. So constructor and destructor again. You cannot invoke the constructor directly like a method. All magical methods are automatically selected by the PHP. You cannot do anything with them. So there is no way in which you can say that I want the constructor now. I can't say that new constructor, new, and or I can't say my car equal to vehicle and something construct or anything. I can't do that, and it's not available. That method is not directly available. Or inside the class, I cannot say car greater than, call me the construct. It's not available. So that's why they are called as magic methods. So there are what you have seen. So there is a construct, there is a destruct, there is a get, there is a set, there is to string. All five are the magic method. And again, a question can be asked to explain any five magic method in PHP. Now, suppose if you go to library and refer the old version of PHP, in that case, in olden days, these methods were not there. It came into picture with the 5 version. If you are using a book that is a very old book, and in olden days the constructor was having the same thing as you write a function and you give the function the same name, like how you used to do it in the I have a parenthesis because it is a function. Use this one and you get it. Okay, so just to tell you that. So I'm going to say it takes a variable A, it takes a variable B, it takes a variable C. So that means this is a parameterized constructor. So this is how you used to write it. Now is this a constructor? So let's go back and let's say is this a constructor? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say my car is equal to new vehicle, and you notice the NetBeans is helping you out and it just says, even though I don't have a document for this, but you are supposed to do this. You're supposed to supply all these things. Now, as usual, I have overridden the default constructor that was provided by the PHP. Now, you know very well, if you don't provide a constructor, the programming language will, or the compiler will automatically provide to you. If you provide something of your own, then you will have to take care. The programming languages mostly come out of UB. Now, you notice over here, I just said I have a constructor here. This is the old way it works. You may say that how does this work? This works because of the backward compatibility. So because they started with that idea, they still have that thing. So if you were old school person and if you want to try that thing, it's going to work. Okay. So how does it goes? It checks whether there is a constructor. If there is no constructor, it will automatically call the default constructor, that is no parameter constructor. If you have used the underscore construct, that's a magic method, it will call that thing. If it can't find it, it will then search for this one, that's the old version. If it is there, it will then initialize it. It will not say an error. Now the problem what I did here is, I said my constructor takes 3 parameters, but now I am not supplying the 3 parameters. What is the result? The result is, it said there were 3 arguments which you are supposed to supply for this constructor, and I could not get the first argument, I could not get the second argument, and there was no third argument. So it all failed altogether, and this time it is not stopping anything, but it okay, so we get different colors. So we have this warning message just says that see, you didn't give me that thing, but I did in my level best to go ahead with it. Okay. So what if what would have happened if I had typed something? Remember, it could be anything. Just to reduce the time, I'm typing a number. It could be string. It could be anything. What if I try to do this? It keeps quiet and it says it is done. Why? Because you supplied the 3 argument and I expected you to supply 3 argument, it is going to work. Now the next question is, what if you mix both of them? What will happen if you have this as well as this? You have a construct and you have the vehicle. Which one will it prefer? So let's go here, and if you notice over here, it says a warning, and it just that warning doesn't make any sense because it just says you have ABC and you are not using ABC. Let me go over here and let me go to this vehicle and let me open it up, and I get it wrong. And it says, oh yeah, you have 2 things. Which one would you like to use? This one or this? I assume that I will reduce the errors by supplying 3 numbers because it expects you to give 3 arguments. Okay, so let's go over here and what does it say? Okay. So it says generate use vehicle or something, okay, which I have not talked about the use there. Again, that has a different meaning. Let me run it and you notice what it is doing. For the first time, it called constructor is called. You notice this constructor is called. From where am I getting it? Just to recall, I have this. It says constructor is called. What about this constructor? I have no echo statement for that constructor. I have echo statement only for this one. So the first time when I created it, it went to this constructor and it created the object. Second time I said I want you to pass 3 parameters. So what was the result that it gave? You notice that second time it actually went to its own constructor. So remember, this time I'm calling here, this is because of this line. If you notice here, if you notice that constructor, this constructor has nothing, no echo statement. Whereas only the first constructor has an echo statement. But what you notice, for the second time, it actually went to its new constructor and it started calling it. And what will happen at the destructor? When you wanted to destroy it, I don't have /n here, so it is not going to come in 2 lines, but it is showing in that means if you have 2 constructor, even though it shows up 2 constructor, but it prefers its new constructor. It just goes to the new constructor and does it. And the other important thing, I think I have already told you about this. You cannot overload this. It's not possible to do that thing. It just blows up, and you notice the NetBeans itself says you already have a constructor. It is not possible for me to do that thing.